Rice is one of the oldest crops known to humanity and is still one of the most widely consumed grains in the world today. According to Statista, over half the world's population, roughly about 4 billion people, consume rice as their staple food today. For many people around the world, myself included, it's almost impossible to imagine life without rice. I come from a region called the Rice Bowl of India, as it's a major rice producing area. So it's no surprise that I grew up eating white rice every single day, 2 times a day and sometimes even 3 times a day. But here's where it gets interesting. White rice typically has a high glycemic index between 70 and 80, which means it can spike blood glucose levels quite sharply. Basmati rice, on the other hand, tends to have a low GI, roughly between 50 and 60. Since we eat basmati rice at home, I started to wonder, could that make a difference for someone trying to manage type 2 diabetes? Let's find out. So this is my lunch, 100 grams of white rice, and this is 150 grams of beef mince, keema with the Indian spices, and about roughly 135 grams of mixed vegetables. And I did not eat anything since morning. I'll first eat the vegetables and then eat the rice and the keema, and let's see if that helps in minimizing the spike. That's the veggies done. This is one of my favorites, keema and rice that my mom makes. By the way, I forgot to mention this is freshly cooked rice, and the similar quantities I'll eat tomorrow, but the rice, put the exact amount in the fridge, 100 grams, and then reheat it tomorrow for lunch. It's tasty. That's the last bite. All done. As you can see, my blood glucose spiked sharply to 9.3 within an hour and kept on rising till 10.2 when checked an hour and a half later. Started dropping slowly, reaching 7.3 at the 3-hour mark, and reached the optimal level 4.5 hours after. You can also see the quick summary. There's definitely a big spike after eating the freshly cooked rice and minced beef with mixed veggies. This is the graphical representation providing a much more comprehensive view of the glucose patterns. The elevated period lasted for 2.5 hours approximately. There's definitely a solid spike, but please bear in mind this was my first meal of the day. Will be interesting to see the results of the reheated rice. Today is day 2, so this is 100 grams of rice. This is not freshly cooked. It was cooked yesterday and it was refrigerated for about 16 hours. I did not have anything since morning, so the same quantities, so 100 grams of reheated basmati rice. This is 150 grams of keema from yesterday, and this is 135 grams of veggies. So I'll finish the veggies first, and after that I'll eat the carbs and protein. So that's the last bite of veggies. Fingers crossed the spike would be less than yesterday, but that's the test. Now on to the rice and keema. For some reason, I find it more delicious today than yesterday. Perhaps I'm hungry. Last bite. All done. This is the timeline of how my blood glucose responded to the reheated rice. The glucose rose and reached its highest at the 1-hour mark and then slowly came down. The graph will show another view of the readings. It rose by 2.8 millimoles per liter from the baseline reading of 6.6. The peak of 9.5 millimoles per liter occurred after around an hour after eating, slightly lower than the previous day's peak of 10.2. After 90 minutes, levels dipped more quickly before returning near baseline of 6.6 by 4 hours. This is the comparison between the 2 days of eating. Day 1's meal was freshly cooked rice, while day 2's meal was the same rice cooled and then reheated after 16 hours in the fridge. Fresh rice spiked to 10.2 after 2 hours of eating. Reheated rice peaked lower at 9.5 millimoles per liter just 1 hour after the meal. This smoother descent suggests better post-meal control compared to day 1, possibly due to reheating of the stored rice, which apparently reduces the starch content. I can see some benefits of the reheated rice, and I was able to quantify them. The first one being the 0.7 millimoles per liter lower peak, which is a 31% reduction in spike compared to day 1. Also notice that there was a 26% smaller glucose rice, that is 2.8 versus 3.8 millimoles per liter, and the improved recovery time, 30 minutes faster return to baseline than day 1. So it looks like cooling and reheating rice increases its resistant starch content, which slows carbohydrate absorption and the glucose spikes. This is how my body responded to the rice. Hope this helped in understanding the white rice a little bit more and how best it can be eaten. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.